Today we were reviewing a TV show which I didn't expect to be covering, but because someone's like, watch this, I was like, okay, I'll look into it actually, and I decided that since it was only 6 episodes long, I'm going to showcase what it is. It's a little complicated to talk about the origins of this show since I still am not too exactly sure. There's a whole lot to it. Villainous is a Mexican-American animated series that is on Cartoon Network now, but it started off as an independent thing done by some dude who I didn't look up the name before doing so. Alan, I don't know how to say the last name. I'm bad at pronunciation, so I'll give my best shot. Fuck, I'm not even gonna try it. Yeah, it's a show that was picked up by Cartoon Network recently. The dates are a little confusing, but apparently this project started in 2012, and then some shorts aired in 2017. The show was picked up around 2021, and then it was on series premiered here, I guess, on 2023. Maybe I'm not too sure because it's kind of confusing. Yeah, it's in Spanish, obviously, but it's been translated over to English. In the English version, the bear there has the same voice as Markiplier. I'm not even joking. Also, unsurprisingly, Max has the episodes in the wrong order because it wouldn't be HBO Max without having episodes in the wrong order. For example, this episode, which I'm showing clips from, is the pilot of the actual show, but it's episode 4 despite being the first episode. I cannot find anywhere else but Max that says it's episode 4, so I'm very confused. This show actually piqued my interest a little bit. One, because it was short enough to watch, since the episodes aren't very long. There's only 6 episodes currently out there, so it only took me like 2 hours or less to watch this entire show in one sitting. It also had a similar art style to one of my new favorite shows, being the Has Been Hotel, if you can tell by these character designs. But this came first, I guess. But not that it really matters. But they're similar in style, and I like this style. It also has a unique premise where eventually there's this organization known as the Black Hat, which are people, 3 villains here. Well, one's just a kind of a bear that kind of just is cuddly, and that's about it. Who are going around and helping out villains with their hero problems, essentially, trying to defeat heroes, with their leader being a guy named Black Cat. Our main 3 villains kind of being incompetent, and Black Cat seems to have way more power than anyone else in this show. He makes them do all the work, but they do succeed in the end. And we actually like these villain characters, because even though there's villains, they are very likable, and they actually seem more heroic than a lot of the heroes they fight, to be honest. Let's talk about our 4 main characters, since it's a very limited amount of character space, so we can talk a lot about them. First, we have kind of the main guy, Dr. Flug here, who, for some reason, always has a paper bag on his head. And in fact, he's ripped it apart multiple times, like it's his hair, and it doesn't come off. So maybe his head outwardly is a paper bag. I don't really know. He's kind of like the mad scientist who's also kind of a wimp. But he's also kind of an entertaining character as well. There's also 505, who I guess is an experimental bear guy. But he's cuddly, but he's also kind of powerful. And his flower is also a real flower because someone has an allergic reaction to it later on. And then there's Dementia, who is not an old woman, despite the fact her name is Dementia. But maybe I'm just misinterpreting the name there, who's basically just some psycho girl who also looks like a lizard sometimes, because, I don't know, that's her costume. And that's about it. That's all the characters are. You might not like them if you have a certain taste in certain cartoons, but I do not have those tastes, and I actually like this quite a bit. It's weird that the character you see all the time, being the Black Cat, is actually not really in the show that much. He was apparently a lot in the older media, but in the actual show itself, he's not that much of a presence, even though every time he's on the screen, he does steal the show. He's a very interesting character that we don't know a whole lot about. In fact, this show is episodic, meaning it's not serialized, but there does seem like there's some interesting things going on in the background. Who knows what will happen if they release more episodes, which I don't know if they will, because I have no idea what the release schedule even is for this show, because the dates, like I said, are very confusing to follow. Anyway, we'll get to the first episode plot, where some douche bro hero is beating up this woman who just wants to block out the sun because she's allergic to the sun. Kind of funny, and of course she hires the Black Hat group to help her out and defeat this villain. They actually fail at doing so because they fail to stick to a plan, which is kind of funny in a weird way. These characters are kind of incompetent at their job, but they're kind of good at it, but also bad at it, so it's a very entertaining show to watch. So they try to leave, but the guy follows them because of course he does. So they gotta defeat this guy before their master finds out that they led a hero to their base. For the second time around, they're actually able to defeat the villain, knowing they have a better plan set out, and he's finally captured, meaning that one girl doesn't have to worry about getting sun damage, because she's actually going to use his DNA to make herself resistant to sun. Isn't that nice? She doesn't worry about being a villain anymore. Or maybe she will be, who knows. She's also put into a contract with Black Cat. Just with all of these characters she deals with. So like I said, if it's serialized, then it may come back, but who knows right now. So it's pretty clear that Black Cat is not a good employer, as he abuses employees all the time. This really only affects the Dr. Fleck here. Was that his name? Did I say that right? Yeah, Dr. Flug. Sorry, I said Fleck. I don't think they really say his name that much. I call him Paper Baghead. So in the next episode, the Scooby-Doo gang decides that they're going to write graffiti on the wall, which is not very nice. They graffitied Moses and me on the wall. Anyway, there's some guy here who has a wrecking ball hand who wants to destroy this haunted house because he's not scared of it, and that's not good for the ghosts because they are all little kids and stuff like that who don't want their haunted house home to be destroyed. So that's why they call in Villainous to get the job done. It's actually not Villainous or Villainous as it's originally called in its original language. It's the Black Cat organization, but whatever. You know what I mean. One thing you'll notice about this show is that the humor in pretty much everything is incredibly fast-paced. In fact, you'll miss a ton of stuff. This is one of those shows that they want you to rewatch in order to pick up everything that they're throwing at you, which is a lot. The show also has cutaway gags, which I'm not the biggest fan of in most shows. Like, Family Guy does them horrible, but this one doesn't do it too bad, though I'm not the biggest fan of that type of humor, since it's mostly like, remember this happening, but because of the fast pace, it works better than it does in a show like Family Guy, which has bad animation and slow as hell pacing. Anyway, this guy is about to destroy the whole mansion, but you get scared by the least threatening member of the Black Hat organization, which is 505, because he's scared of bears. Because one time a bear bit his hand off, which is why he has a wrecking ball hand. I mean, that's great stuff. So the haunted house and all the ghost residents are saved. In the next episode, some woman in a Day of the Dead mask signs a deal with the Black Mask so that did I say Black Mask? I meant Black Cat, who wants to get her husband back, even though they aren't not aware of that now, because there's a wrestler on the scene who's been possessed by a wrestling mask. This episode has a bunch of Mexican culture references, so if you don't know any of them, then you're going to be lost for a loop. But luckily, I've seen Coco, so I'm an expert. Just kidding, I'm not an expert. I'm a loser. So they get the mask off, but then the mask possesses dementia, so now they gotta get the mask off her, and they actually do it pretty easily after they all get beat up by her, because, the mask makes the characters powerful. All that happens is that Black Cat finally gets off his ass and says, take that fucking mask off, and she does, because deep down, she's actually a big simp for him. Really, she simps a lot for Black Cat, which is really funny. They keep saying Black Mask, keep wanting to sing Black Mask over and over again. It just rolls with the tongue better than Black Cat. And after all that, I guess they go on a little tour of wherever they are and have a lot of fun. I would say this is probably my least favorite episode of the series. Not that it's bad, but I didn't find it as interesting as the other one, since even the characters they deal with are barely there for a split second. The woman looks like she's a villain, but she's really not. She's wearing a mask, so nothing interesting there. And most of it is just a bunch of wrestling stuff, and I'm not a big fan of wrestling, whether it's Mexican or WWE, or Luchador, I should say. In the next episode, they get a new client who is actually an AI program, who is a satellite thing that's basically trying to pirate stuff to leak it online, which is kind of funny. It has to be a show that Dr. Fug, is that, I don't know how to say it, was it Flug? Flug jargon cycling. But this one person sent by the medias are going to try to destroy the AI, so they got to stop her from doing that. There's also a subplot where Black Cat just messes with TV shows by dementing them, because it's kind of vague what his powers are, but apparently he can fuck with TV productions by making the sun kill the Teletubbies. This show's a lot of references. Even though this is a kid show on Cartoon Network, it's more dark than a lot of the other shows they have on there. The characters fight knockoff Samus here for long periods of time, and then I guess she wants to kill them all, including herself, because I guess dementia is so annoying that she'd rather just fall into the vacuum of space than deal with her. Oh, and Dr. Flug finally gets to watch the show. Well, not really, because it immediately gets interrupted by the AI program. Which sucks for him. The next episode is probably my favorite in the series, and if you can tell, this show has a lot of references, if you can tell from the background there. This show takes full advantage of the fact that it is on Cartoon Network, and it's here's a Cartoon Network character. Sometimes it gets a little distracting, though, because sometimes it's pretty pointless. Sometimes they just have a character there, it's what the hell that character's doing there? Why is the Powerpuff Girl there? Why is there Johnny Bravo there? It's kind of stuff like that. It doesn't bother me too much, but like I said, it's more distracting than interesting most of the time. Anyway, the Black Hat group has been being scanned by an alternate version of them that are all muscle-bound, apparently, meatheads, versions of each of them, which is really kind of weird, but hey, that's just something that happens. We don't know where these characters came from, and for some reason, the 505 is a cactus, their version of it. Yes, this show did just reference Sonic Adventure 2, my all-time favorite video game, so this automatically makes this episode a 10 out of 10.
Beside Baker! Baker? Are you comparing yourself to me?
So this guy is the swole version of Black Cat, who is trying to show off his muscles because one time Black Cat, the actual one, thought that he was not that cool. So he's like, I'm gonna show him by making a buff version of his team. This man is so buff that his own ass cheeks can grind rock.
Say you were doctoring exactly?
Nothing! Doctor is my first name!
I don't know why, but this is one of my favorite jokes of the whole show. Anyway, like most shows that have something like similar plotline like this, the characters learn that the others have to fight them and not themselves fight the character, if that makes any sense. So they have to fight the other person that isn't them. I don't know how to explain it, but you've seen this in shows, right? Though I do like this one's a little more comedic with the alternate version of the characters. There's interesting things you could do with that concept. I like the concept, sometimes it's overused. But I wonder if the next episode will be a body swap episode. That I don't know why that's a cliche that cartoons do all the time. Why is there always a body swap episode? Not that this show has that, but seriously, why is that always a thing that happens? So they defeat everybody but the imposter Black Cat, who just decides that since he's still didn't impress the real Black Cat, that he's got to train more, and that's about it. Next episode's the most popular episode of the series, at least from what I've seen, since the character from this episode is pretty much all over everywhere, because I guess people are sipping all over this character. Which is funny because in the show, her power is to have people simp over her, which is pretty beat. This episode's fine, I just don't know why it's the most popular one ever. In fact, it ends on kind of a cliffhanger, like it's going to continue something, but like I said, I don't know if this can continue or not, because I can't find much release date information on some of this stuff. Well, I can, but none of it makes like sense, at least to me. Maybe I'm just a stupid idiot. Also, this character is supposed to be a hero, but she does the most villainous thing ever by mind-controlling a bunch of people to falling in love with her to do her own bidding, which is, not hero behavior. Her main goal is to try to get with some other hero guy who we don't really know anything about, but whatever. And I guess she also kind of likes Dr. Flug. I'm not too sure here, but he's like, okay, maybe I liked you in the past. There's some backstory thing they have, but it's not really delved that deep into. But anyway, because they all see her kissing him, they're all like sad and they break out of her mind control. Did I simp after this character who's now in prison? The answer is no. This show also references Beetlejuice, so yeah, they references good shit in here, and Windows. So yeah, this is a great show. I got nothing else really to say about it right now. It doesn't feel like it's complete at this point, and I guess I need to watch the shorts or something like that if I can find them. If this show sounded interesting after what I've said about it or what you've seen, then I actually do recommend giving it a shot. This is pretty easy to find on Max. Keep in mind the episodes are out of order, but since it's not serialized, it doesn't matter too much. In fact, the only episode they have in common with the regular series is that the final episode on both are the same, which is okay. So that's the only thing that they had lined up. Like I said, Max, like I said, they fuck with shit all the time. And they suck at doing their job at making episodes come in the right order. Like, how hard is it to do that? You cancel projects all the time, but you can't keep episodes in the right order? Fuck you, HBO Max and Warner Brothers Discovery, where the hell's going on over there? Now it's time to rank the episodes. Number 6, the VVV. Number 5, Bulldozing. Number 4, the Hedonist's Heart. Number 3, Satellite Secret. Number 2, the Dreadful Dawn. And number 1, BH's Bizarre Adventure. And that's pretty much all I gotta say about this show. I hope you enjoyed it, and my final rating on the show overall is going to be an 8 out of 10. It's good, but it definitely could use a little bit more tweaking. But yeah, if it looks interesting, I do recommend it. It's very short, and it's not bad, and we'll see if they make more episodes. Until then, I'll see you in whatever I review next, which who knows what that will even be.